Now let us start writing the test script for this test case by using relative XPath. Okay, let me open the Eclipse. Line number 3, we have created a class called as relative XPath. Line number 5 is the main method, is the entry point to your code. In the previous solution itself, we have used absolute XPath. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste the same code. What we have done in the absolute XPath, completely I'm copying that and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so what does line number 11, 12, 13 will be doing? It is launching the blank Firefox, line number 11, launching the URL, maximizing the window. Line number 15 and 16, as per the test case, we have the expected result which is stored in this variable. Okay, now line number 20, 21, 22, we have used absolute XPath, so I am going to remove that. I am going to construct my own XPath. I am going to construct my own XPath, so I am removing all those. Instead of this, instead of earlier absolute XPath, we are going to write relative XPath by constructing our own XPath. Okay, so what I have done is wherever the absolute XPath was there, in how many places, this four lines, and this is the fifth line. All the rest of the things will remain the same. Let us start writing the script for what? Relative XPath. What it is? Relative XPath. For relative XPath, you will be writing the code like this. That is driver dot find element. In a normal way, you write the same code. Okay, you will be writing the same way. Okay, by XPath, all these would remain same, but only thing is you will start writing double slash tag name square braces at the rate attribute name. You will be using attribute name equal to, in single quote, attribute value. As of now, you won't be able to understand. Okay, let me explain. Close the square braces and close the quote. This is how you will be writing your code. This is what is your the relative XPath is. Okay, now what we are worried about in line number 20, we need to enter amount. So let me open the developer tool. I pressed F12. So to find the relative XPath, right? To find the relative XPath, let me press HTML. Select this. For us to write our own XPath, that is relative XPath, we can make use of the HTML tags and the attributes which is displayed and start writing our own relative XPath. To start with, if you see here, I selected this. So what is the tag name? Tag we have input. Okay, you can use any of the attribute. There are how many attributes? ID, there is one attribute, there is another attribute, second, third, whichever the attribute you feel like, right? Any attribute you can use, but it should identify the element when the code is getting executed. So in this case, shall I use name, principal and type equal to text? You can use one attribute or you can use multiple attributes. I'll show you with multiple attribute first. Later on we can use one attribute also. Okay, so how exactly to go about? First, I need to follow the same instruction. What is it? Double slash. If you closely observe, we are writing the XPath for the particular element. We are not even going in the hierarchy level. At the whatever the attributes we have for the particular element, based on that we are constructing our own XPath. Okay, so what is the tag name which we have? What is the tag name in this case? The tag name is input. So shall I type input? Square braces, replicate the same thing, square braces, then at the rate, what is the what you call attribute name? it is type. I pasted it. Then single quote, what is the attribute value? Text. Attribute value is text, single quote, close the square braces. Is that the same thing we did? Tag name was what? Input, square braces, at the rate. Attribute name was what? Type. And attribute value is what? Text. So to have the multiple attributes, right? I'm opening one more square braces. What should I write? At the rate name. At the rate name. I should use what? At the rate symbol. At the rate name, single quote, principal, square braces. Square braces. Save it. If you see here, two attributes were used and the tag name is input, double slash, and we have closed the things with the quotes. Okay. Now let me inspect once again in here. Let us see how exactly we can write the attribute or the relative XPath for this element. How do I go about? How do I go about? Say type is text, name is interest. So how do I go about? Double slash, tag name is input. Tag name is input. Again type is what? At the rate type equal to text. Then at the rate name equal to interest. At the rate name equal to interest in single quote, square braces. Okay. Now let me inspect the months in here. Okay. Have inspected the months. Shall we give only one attribute to identify? So how do we identify? Double slash input square braces at the rate. Shall we use only name? What I would suggest is don't use type because all the other fields also has type. Okay, because when we use only type, right, it will try to execute on the first element. So always at least see something unique, use that. At the rate name equal to what it is? Installments, close the square bracket. Now let us inspect the calculate button. In this case, what can I use? I can use type or I can use calculate, anything I can use. But for this two element, shall I take the help of the tool itself? One is you know how to construct on the element level. That is, you can use the tag name, attribute and attribute value. Now shall I use the tool itself? That is Firepath tool. How do I inspect? Click on this calculate. Whatever I get here, right, with the single slash and all those things, this is the absolute XPath which we get. Now let me uncheck this. Okay, come to HTML. Now again come back to Firepath, inspect, calculate. Now can you see here? By in itself, tool itself is providing us the relative XPath. Relative XPath is nothing but anywhere from between the page, right? Start creating and start showing that. If you see here, double slash star is nothing but let the tag name be anything. That's a regular expression. At the rate ID, can you see here? PG general. It has started somewhere in the middle of the page, then gone on with the slash div with respect to two divs. System itself is providing us. So I'm copying that. Either you can construct your own XPath or use the relative XPath from the system as well, from the tool as well. So I'm pasting it. If you see here, we are going to click that particular element. Now what is the last element which we have? Let me enter 10,000. This is what we have, right? 12, then 60. Click on calculate. Now let me inspect this. Can you see here? This is also a relative XPath. Whenever you have double slash, it means we are getting the relative XPath from the tool. Whenever we have single slash or no slash, it means it is absolute XPath there. Copy this, put it into line number 26. Okay, we get the output. So these three lines, line number 20, 21, 22, we developed our own relative XPath. Line number 24, we took the help of the tool. Here also we ourselves can construct. If you feel the our own way of constructing is easy, yes, you can completely do that with no issues. And line number 26, this also we took it from the tool. If you want to construct your own relative XPath, yes, you can still do that as well. Okay, now let us execute. Let me close this. Let me close this. Save. Right click. Run as Java application. So in this example, we are completely learning how exactly the relative XPath as we can construct, as well as if you want to use the tool, how to use it. Okay, if you see here, like our absolute XPath, right, it had no difference in the execution time and all those things. Now the next question generally people have is which one to use, whether to use absolute XPath or whether to use relative XPath. For that, the answer would be always go with relative XPath, because what happens is supposedly if you are using absolute XPath, let me open it. Let me open the URL. Just a moment. Okay, once I open the URL, this is my element. If at all you are using absolute XPath, tomorrow something else, some other image or this element got removed. What absolute XPath is doing is HTML, body, head, everything, it somehow comes with the hierarchy of everything and reaches the element. Suppose a new element comes in, your absolute XPath won't work. What does the relative will do? Directly we come to some other element, some place in here, and we are fetching those. We are trying to identify the element from the middle of the page. Even if a new image comes in absolute XPath, your XPath is gone for a toss. But in relative XPath, even if a new image comes around the places, there won't be any issue in your execution of the code. It will work absolutely fine. Okay, so always we would suggest, and in most of the project, we use relative XPath or we construct our own XPath. Okay.